Welcome to Secrets Revealed, the Holy Bible. Today we're looking at Genesis chapter 35. There are 29 verses in this chapter, and I'm also trying something new today. I'm having video in the corner so you can see me. Please comment. Please like if that's what you prefer. Otherwise, I won't know if you want to actually see me on screen. Some people may prefer that. Some people may not. So depending on the feedback I receive, I will consider making myself seen. So the first verse that we're going to look at that has a difference is verse 4. It talks about a turpentine tree. Where is this? Verse 4. Here it is. Jacob hid them. These are the strange Elohim. Under the turpentine tree, which is in Sekima, and destroyed them to this day. Verses in the Masoretic, it says, Jacob hid them. He didn't destroy them. He hid them under the oak, which was by Shechem. So the Septuagint is saying that he hid them under the turpentine tree, not a oak tree. And it's also said that he destroyed them as opposed to just keeping them there and burying them. So that's a big difference, destroying the images versus not. And then you have verse 5 talking about Israel departing from Sekema, and the fear of God was upon the cities round about them, and they did not pursue after the children of Israel. So the fear of Elohim was on them versus the terror of Elohim. That's noteworthy because a lot of people's misunderstanding about this is that fear means terror. So which is it? Is it fear as in terror, like they're afraid of their lives, afraid for their lives? Or is it a reverential respect, the same way one would fear lightning if you're out in a field and it's the middle of the thunderstorm? The same way one would fear fire, the power of fire, how it can burn you, how it can provide heat, how it's such a powerful force. Is that the kind of fear? I think that's what they're talking about. It's not this terror like he's a scary boogeyman, something like that. It's they respect him. Not that they were obeying him either, because I know there is a fear of Elohim where you love his commandments, where you hate evil. I don't think that's what it's talking about here. I think it's more of the reverential respect that this God is real, and so we shouldn't attack Israel. That's what you see is the course of action they took, is that they didn't try to kill them. They didn't pursue after them. Verse 8 says, the oak of mourning. So it says here, Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, was buried there, and Jacob called its name the oak of mourning, versus Alon Bachuth. So that could just be a translation of what it means. And I noted here that, Deborah was Rebekah's nurse. That can be understood many ways. It could simply just mean an assistant. Not that she was, a tiny child and she needed someone to breastfeed her. I don't think that's what it was. I'm leaning more to that it was just somebody to assist her, such as a handmaid, something like that. Verse 12 says, I have given it to you. Talking to Jacob, Elohim, talking to him, Jehovah. I have given it to you. The land which I gave to Abraham and Isaac, I have given it to you. Versus the Masoretic, to you I will give it. So one is past tense, one is future tense. To be given. One is I've already given it to you. It's as good as done. Verse 16 says that Jacob removed from Bethel and pitched his tent beyond the tower of Gader. We're going to see this come up again later in the chapter. But it also says that, and it came to pass when he drew near to Chabratha to enter into Ephrathah, that's when Rachel gave birth. We know that to Benjamin, to Benjamin. In the Masoretic text, it says what it says, except it doesn't say, doesn't include all these details about Shabratha. It doesn't. It only includes Ephrath, but it it describes it a little differently. There was a little way to come to Ephrath. So anyway, it's similar, but it leaves out Shabratha. It leaves out this portion here about Tower of Gader, but we're going to see it later in the chapter. Verse 17, this is the midwife talking to Rachel. Be of good courage, for you shall also have this son. I've heard some people interpret this saying, be of good courage, as man up, be a man. Obviously, in this case, it wouldn't apply to Rachel. It's more, let me look it up right now. Okay, it does mean quit you like men. So I know she's not a man, obviously, but it's more just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, don't give up. You can do it, basically. Be a woman, be a strong woman, then, in this case. For you shall have the son. However, the Masoretic doesn't say this at all. She just says, fear not, you shall have the son also. So I feel the Septuagint is more positive. Be of good courage. It's more positive than negative. 18, verse 18 says that in her hard labor, she gave up the ghost, for she was dying. She called his name the son of my pain. That's what the Septuagint says. The Masoretic says her soul was departing. So it words it much differently. For she died, so she was already dead. And then he called his name Benoni. So it sounds like she was in the process of dying, for she died. This is a text talking posthumously. And she called his name Benoni. However, here it says, in her giving up the ghost, for she was dying. So it's describing it here more as if we're in the present moment, not that it already happened. It's like we're there with her. That's how it's being narrated here. And the son of my pain could very well be just a translation of Benoni. I believe that's what it is. So we look at the next verse. That would be verse 21. So this is what I'm talking about here. As you can see in the Septuagint, it's not even there because it's already in verse 16. Jacob removed from Bethel, pitched his tent beyond the Tower of Gader. We look at 21 in the Masoretic. And it says here, Israel, or Jacob, journeyed and spread his tent beyond the Tower of Edar. So instead of Gader, it's Edar. We also see here that verse 22, this is the thing talking about Reuben having sex with the concubine of his father, Jacob, whose name is Bilhah. Jacob heard of this, and this affair, appeared grievous before him, this adultery, this fornication, this uncovering of his father's nakedness. And the Masoretic, what does it say? Well, Jacob heard about it, but it wasn't grievous to him. It was just he heard about it. The end. No, this is a very big insult. It's a very hard hit to one's reputation, to one's good name, and also the authority that the father has over the family. Because basically you're saying, oh, I'm now the chief because I get to sleep with the the father's concubine. It's kind of like usurping their authority. It's very bad. Not only looks bad to other people, it's also bad within the family. It's just bad, and it's a lose-lose in all ways. So that's a very bad mistake, very bad decision that Reuben had done. Verse 27 says here, the plain. Jacob came to Isaac, his father, to Mamre, to a city of the plain, versus Mamre unto the city of Arba, which is Hebron. So the city of the plain, this is Hebron. So one says the plain, one says Arba. And then the last verse, which has a difference, is verse 28. It says, the days of Isaac which he lived were 180 years. Sorry, verse 29, that's what I meant to write. It says here, Isaac gave up the ghost and died and was laid to his family, old and full of days. So they buried him. His family buried him. They all came together to mourn his loss, mourn their loss of Isaac, their father. However, the Masoretic doesn't describe it that way. It says he was gathered unto his people instead of laid to his family. But his people are his family. I guess that's a distinction to note, that your family is your people and your people are your family. Whoever comes from you, your family that is, are your people. Or maybe it's just his family, you know. I mean, some people would say, okay, my people are whoever lives around me. Those are your neighbors. That's not your family. So this is very specific. I find the Septuagint in many ways is way more specific and gives us a more complete picture and just makes logical sense. So that's all I have to say about Genesis chapter 35. Again, thank you very much for your time. May Jehovah bless you and make your way prosperous. Until next time, this is Jack Knight for Secrets Revealed, the Holy Bible. Shalom.